Hey everyone, and welcome to the Word Project podcast. I am your host, Sharnita Gates, and today we're going to talk about the word conviction. It is that time of the year where we think about the upcoming holidays, and this year the newest holiday is conviction. How are you convicting yourself? How are you taking ownership over your, not only just yourself? When we think about loving yourself, how are you disciplining yourself? How are you being obedient to yourself and the things that we know are true? And one of the things we know that is true is that God created us. There is a creator. He brought us into existence and he gave us love. I mean, for we think about when a man and a woman come together and they birth a child, they think is out of love. Same thing with the creator. He brought us into existence based off of love. And that's why it's one of the greatest commandments is to love one another. Because he loved us, and he so loved us that he gave his only begotten son, which was a model of obedience and discipline. When we learn about Jesus and his sacrifice on the cross, we think about where obedience and discipline intersect. This is what we call wisdom and understanding. As you read the Bible, you will become more stronger in conviction. A lot of times when we think about conviction, we think about the law. You're being convicted of breaking the law. Now, what about the law of God? God gave his laws. He gave his 10 commandments for us to follow. Now, one of the main things that I'm seeing now when it comes to when we think about where things intersect, now we have the creator and we have multiple apps. We have technology. And when you think about technology and being a creator in technology, there's nothing new under the sun, first of all. So when we talk about technology, we're just talking about the in-depth knowledge of what God has already created. He has created us, and now we're diving deeper into what we call our mind, and that is what technology is. Our technology is our mind in a more manual or automated way where we can see it outside of the human body. A lot of times we have our inside voice, and our inside voice is necessarily now becoming what technology is. What you listen to, what you watch, what you eat, everything that you put into your body, that's like putting a CD inside of a computer. When you put that CD-ROM inside of that computer, it's going to either play a video or some type of sound. Based off of the input, you're going to get an output. So the same thing it is with our bodies and our minds so if you think about yourself if you love computers, you really have to learn how to love yourself. You have to learn what it is that is inside your mind, what you will and what you won't do. That's why when we're talking about conviction, we're talking about intentional limitations. We're talking about boundaries. A lot of times when we understand, when we talk about loving yourself, the first thing is to love God with all your heart, your mind, and your soul. If he can't have 5 minutes of your time for you to remember one memory verse, mind you, think about a memory verse. Get one memory verse out of the Bible, because I'm pretty sure we can remember, let's say, memes or things that show up. But I know in my journey, I have become way more wiser a lot more wiser, and gained a lot more wisdom in understanding when it comes to decisions, when it comes to discipline, when it comes to obedience, when it comes to a model to look up to. I have understand a lot more as I understood why Christ is a model on the cross. When we think about a lot of things that happen inside this world, whether it's murder, the things that we're talking about as far as the 10 commandments, what he commanded us not to do. I mean, now Where is the commands to love one another? You know, where's the commands to fellowship? We know the laws of God, but do we know the what he command us to do? So that's why he spoke in parables, so we can kind of dissect into many different understandings for everyone to understand that discipline and obedience is not on the bad end of the spectrum. It's on the actual good end of the spectrum. Well, so that's why they say the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy your mind. It's no different than spyware or malware on your computer. The thief in real life comes the same way. If he can take anything and implant something into your mind, into your will, and into your emotions, and then the best thing about it is sometimes, like even on your computer, you may not even know you may have a bug or a malware or spyware or any of that on your computer, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. And just as far as when you speak, when you eat, when you think, what you watch, what you hear, you may not even know that you're taking in different things inside of your mind. That's why I say guard your heart upon all things, because once you guard your heart, you're saying, no, I'm not going to watch that. No, I'm not going to listen to that. No, I don't want to be around this type of energy, because a lot of times people they get so comfortable. I didn't even know, for instance, myself, that I was addicted to pain. Why are you addicted to pain? Because I did not know that I was addicted to pain. It was just such a norm for me. So therefore, it became such a norm. It's like basically being okay with your computer just continually to shut down automatically. So eventually you just like, oh, it just shuts down automatically. So you get used to that state and you never actually take it to the store to get it fixed. So for me, I had to take myself to get fixed, because I had to accept the fact that I do have a malware, spyware, or whatever you want to call it, a bug or an issue of dealing with pain. And a lot of times when I say pain, I'll probably will watch something that I know is going to make me probably feel sad or mad, or, bring up some type of anger, especially if I take the time to look back over the situation. Like, okay, this made me mad. Why did it make you mad? And then going into how did it make you mad? These are things that you have to ask yourself so that you can become more aware of the different type of things that you have to set limits on, the different type of things you have to set boundaries around. When we think about pain, a lot of time it's because of the fact that we don't say no enough. I watched this example of a woman coming in with a lot of disguise on, so you can't even tell who the person is. And she walks into a room of a bunch of probably like 10 to 15 5-year-olds. The first 5-year-old she approached, she gives a bag of candy. He takes it. So therefore, she picks up him and takes him out of the classroom and takes him away. Then she comes back and she gives the candy to another one, and they say no. They say no. They start crying like, no. We know now if we take that candy, we know what it's going to cause. So eventually it trickled all the way down to the last person, and the last kid that she offered the candy to, he reached for it, and that was taken. So the first was taken and the last was taken. So that's the thing, that you have to be mindful and aware that your actions, sometimes it's like a lot of times people say no for a reason. And when somebody say no, I think it's more, a lot of times we never ask, why do someone say no? The next time someone says no, I want to know why, because I'm pretty sure that they learned something where that possibly could help me in in the future. So a lot of times we don't accept that conviction of being able to say no. A lot of times that's what conviction is. Conviction is basically saying no. So what's the last back? Like I said, doing everything to renew yourself, you have to kind of do it work backwards. That's why certain words, I turn it backwards. If it can be made into something that we can understand and comprehend. So I just take, like, when it comes to conviction, the last two letters and backwards is no. So if I don't want to face any type of conviction, I'm gonna just say no, hands down. So that is what we're talking about today. And so remember, conviction is basically you saying no so that you can stay obedient and disciplined and grounded in what you've learned, and so you can stay wise and under the outline of the commands that was given by our creator. So